Welcome back to another video. Gabby and Spence here with Core 4x4, and we're back at it again with the XJ Cherokee Series. So we have done a lot to this car. So we started out with just a bucket of bolts, a can on wheels, and we've done everything from a long arm kit, WJ knuckle swap, hack and tab, a lift, the whole 9 yards. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and be finishing up, buttoning up everything from, we need to bleed the brakes, we need to give it a proper alignment, we need to actually get the car running. Since we've had it, it has not been starting or running. Our initial thoughts were a fuel pump. We went ahead and got that replaced, but we still may need to diagnose a few things and go ahead and button up a bunch of other things while we're at it, and possibly even prep for a rhino line, take off the bumpers, and kind of get it ready for some fun off-roading. Will that even open? Wrong way.
I'm like trying to hit it like it's a new one.
Thirsty.
Okay, fingers crossed. Hey, there's lights. Look at that! That wasn't movie magic. Literally the first time we tried.
We've had some great success with it starting. That was awesome.
Started right up.
Never really anticipate for the best case scenario, but that was best case scenario.
Okay, so now that we got it running and we moved it back a little and I stepped on the brakes, we got some pressure in the lines. We do have some leaks on the front calipers and that back extended brake line that we put on. We were hesitant to over tighten those because they're so rusty and you can strip them very easily. So we're just going to tighten everything up and then we'll get into bleeding the brakes. So if you've never bled your brakes, the main concept, the whole idea behind it, you just need to get all the air out of your lines and out of your calipers. So you're getting air out of the whole system. So
when you're bleeding your brakes, right, you want to start at the furthest point away. So it's going to be the passenger rear tires going to be the first brake that we're going to bleed. You're going to have somebody in the cab pressing on the brake, and what that does is give pressure to the line. And they're going to press, hold. Then we're going to release the bleed screw on the caliper, and what that will do is depress the brake all the way to the floor on the cab, but then it will release fluid from the caliper, but also any air. Before you remove your foot from the brake pedal, you have to close the tab, or else you're going to allow air back in.
So there's a lot of different ways to do it. We'll show you a couple as we're going through it. But Gabby's right, yeah. You just need to build up some pressure, release it, let the air out, close it.
You usually do it a couple times per caliper just to make sure that there's no air in the system, especially since we have new lines, new calipers, there's going to be a lot of air in the system. Another important thing to note is that your cylinder, your master cylinder, where all the brake fluid is held, you need to make sure that you have fluid in it as it passes through the system. If you don't keep it filled, it'll pull in air from the top of the system, and then you'll have to start all over again.
Exactly. Let's get at it. We'll tighten up the lines, and we'll get into bleeding the brakes. All right, so this is our makeshift brake bleeder kit. This is just a piece of plastic tube. I don't know, what is it? Rubber hose, but it's see-through so you can see air bubbles in your lines, and just a little catch for the brake fluid. We're gonna put this over our bleeder valve, and like we described in the intro, or like Gabby described, we're gonna crack it open when it's under pressure, see what comes out, and then close it when she lets off, or before she lets off, so we don't suck any more back in. If you do, this kind of helps. As long as you have the bottle high, you'll have some brake fluid in the line, so it'll suck brake fluid back in. Your whole goal is just to not get air back into the cylinder, so we'll watch that as we're bleeding the brakes. Okay, closing. Go ahead.
Holding.
All right, again.
There's still bubbles coming out?
Yeah, there was one that time.
Holding.
Okay, that's probably good enough for now on this side. Okay, pressurize.
Holding.
All right, go ahead again.
Holding. Ready?
Yep.
Holding.
Okay. Okay.
So now not only is the Jeep running, we've bled the brakes. We had to go ahead and tighten a couple of lines and make sure everything was good to go. There were a couple leaks here and there now that we had pressure in the system. We raised the car to do that. We also took the liberty of putting grease in all of the bushings and torquing down everything that we could while it's in the air, such as jam nuts and some bolts. Now we're gonna go ahead and remove the front bumper because we are preparing for some trimming and kind of like some test flexing. Yeah, we're just gonna take off and kind of see where we're at flex-wise and trim what we need to do if anything's hitting.
Yeah, the 35s on a 4-inch lift, we might need a little trimming for sure on the bumper here, especially this. But we're gonna do some aftermarket bumpers on this, so we're just gonna take this one off for now and see where we're at. Got it. Just add this over here. Yep. Okay, fingers crossed we got everything else underneath, torqued down, bolted up, brakes bled. We should be good to drive. The last thing we need to do is, well, one, I stripped the bolt on the track bar, so we're gonna do that on the ground because that's really easy with the steering wheel. But the last thing we need to do is tighten all the rubber bushings we have. So we still have rubber bushings in the front axle housings and rubber bushings on the leaf springs. They have a fused crush sleeve, so you never tighten those in the air. Always do them on the ground under the weight of the Jeep. If you do it in the air, you'll have a preload on that crush sleeve and can cause those bushings to fail prematurely. So we're gonna do it on the ground, and that should be the last thing we need to do. We're gonna drive it over to the other shop and flex it out and see how it does. There we go, just hold it there. Yeah, different thing. That is Gabby trying to get 140. Oh, okay. I am so excited. This Jeep is finally going for its first test ride. Got everything done. It's been a long time. It's been sitting in the shop for 6 years almost. And if you saw in the first video, we towed it over here with the truck. So hasn't been on the road, hasn't done anything. We've done so many things. So we're gonna do a shakedown run, and we're gonna go over to the other shop and get the forklift under the tires and just flex it out and see where we're hitting, see if we need a trim, see if we need a bump stop anything. Just check it out. Yeah, let's go for a ride.
Here we go, first test drive.
Okay, it is dirty in here. Holy cow. We adjusted the track bar a little bit, so our steering wheel's off again. We can fix that. So we're hitting that front fender flare, which is kind of expected. We're clearing great on the back side of the flare because we did put our axle a little farther forward, which is what I wanted to do. Because we knew we were going to take the bumper off. Trimming on that's not hard, but we'll probably wait until we pick out flares before we do any major flare trimming. The other option is to bump stop it. right, so this is full tuck. We're just about to lift our front tire. Obviously the leaf springs aren't going to tuck the same as a coil. We're clearing fine here on the front of the tire next to the fender flare. Well, not the flare, but the body. We are hitting our mud flaps back here. I know someone asked for them on another video. If you want them, they're yours. We're taking them off. So we'll have to take those off. We are going to wait on trimming, like I said, until we pick out some flares. If we move to the front, I'll show you how we're tucked, and we might want to bump stop up there. So when we're flex testing and starting to look at our clearances and things, we look for stuff like this. Obviously, this isn't good. We're fully tucked into our wheel well, and we're hitting the body, and we probably bent it a little bit here. So we have a couple options. Bump stops for sure. It had bump stop extensions on it before we did the kit, so we were kind of just going to wait and test it like this. Obviously it's not enough. If we want to keep some tuck, we'll do some trimming here as well. We can take off some of the steel. It's all up to you on what you're doing with your build and your rig. For me, I like to trim and have a lot of up travel. Well, as much up travel as we can. That makes sense. You can over compress your coils if you go crazy and wear them out prematurely, but I've never really worried about that. So we'll probably do a combination of bump stops and trimming some of the steel when we go to do fender flares on this.
I mean, it is pretty awesome to see where the Jeep is now versus where we saw it just a month or two ago. As you can tell, we have this glorious golden hour, so we figured, why not close out the video here? We got a little flex going on. We've seen some, I was going to say mileage, but not really. We've seen some major progress.
We went around the block. It was good.
Yeah, we've seen some progress, and really excited to see what we're going to do next with the Jeep. Again, thank you so much for tuning into this video, this series. We're really excited to get this thing on the trails. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next one.